What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network. Today's episode, fellas, is going to be a little different. I want to give a big shout out to Inui Blue. It's one of my very first female subscribers to the channel. She's probably rocked with me since day one. Salute to you, my dear. Appreciate that. And she asked me what were my thoughts on Canada's Medical Assistance in Dying program, MAID for short. I had never heard of it. As an American, we don't get much Canadian news down here. The last big piece of news I remember hearing out of Canada was back during the pandemic when the guy who runs the place, Prime Minister Soyboy, clamped down on truckers because they had the audacity to think for themselves in terms of the poke. Rumor has it that the guy is Fidel Castro's illegitimate son. I don't know if there's any proof of that, but if so, it explains a lot in how he rules the people of Canada as opposed to governs over them. Because those two things are not the same. But I'll get back to the point because this isn't that kind of channel. The program, basically it says that medical assistance can be offered to people who no longer wish to live. And the people who administer said services will no longer be prosecuted if they do. So I have two thoughts about this, and I want to address this issue delicately because this is such a hot potato for people. So let's get into it. Number one, to all the people who are presently dealing with a terminal illness and or pain management. This is a tricky one for me because I've never had any chronic pain. I've never had any terminal diseases. But I could imagine having lost so many people in my life that I care about from those types of things that the pain is unbearable. Eventually you reach a point where even the strongest opiates available to medicine aren't doing the job of getting the pain down so you can enjoy your everyday life while you're going through the fight of your life. For people who currently are in hospice, for people who the doctors have tried everything. The chemo isn't working. The radiation isn't working. They tried surgery, but they missed the spot and it started to spread again. And after a while, some people lose their will to fight. They lose their passion for wanting to go on. And they just want the pain to stop by any means necessary. So, despite their terminal diagnosis, they wish to expedite the process even faster. They don't want life to take its course. They want to take their own. And I, for one, am not a fan of... I gotta choose my words carefully because YouTube doesn't like certain words. So I'm not a big fan of self-deletion. Even though I am not without compassion. I do have a heart for people. And I don't want to see anyone suffer. So, while part of me wishes that they would take this out to its inevitable conclusion, it's not lost on me, the concept that they would try to just cut the pain off by cutting the lights off. That's a personal matter to be dealt with by the person themselves and their closest family and friends. So for the people who are dealing with a stage 3 or stage 4 diagnosis, for the people who are of advanced age, not sick per se, just very old and they can't quite cope with the ravages of aging, I can't say for sure what's the best move for that person. I would rather they enjoy what they have left, but I'll let that be their call. And then there's number 2. Those who wish to end it all because of despair. Now this one reached a little closer to home. As a veteran, I've gotten that phone call from buddies of mine I've served with. Have you heard what happened to this one? Have you heard what happened to that one? And You get the bad news that the trials of life were just too much for them to bear. That what they were going through, they didn't find a positive resolution, and they sought to destroy themselves. This hurts me deeply, because there's people in my life who I love, who I truly cared about, who I wish there was more that I could have done before they decided to leave here before their appointed time. For those people who aren't dealing with some tragic illness that the doctors don't have any weapons to fight, I would say to you that there are people out here who want to help, who want to give you the strength to fight, who don't want you to fight alone, who want to fight with you. We lost our sister, Nora Vincent, a lesbian, feminist, who had it in her mind to do an expose back in the early 2000s. Her plan was to write a book exposing just how easy men have it. The evils of the patriarchy, don't you know? So she decided to go undercover as a man, to be among us, to listen to how we talked about women, and just prove that we were just these knuckle-dragging Neanderthals who woke up in the morning after brushing our teeth and eating our breakfast thinking of newer and newer ways to oppress women. That was her initial thought process about us. So she wore a disguise and pretended to be a man for the better part of a year and a half, only to find out that we suffer greatly, and we suffer in silence mostly. And that suffering for her would ultimately cost her her life through these very means of assisted self-deletion. She turned around her thought process during this whole time, and I salute her for that. She thought one way until life showed her as quite a different way. And I mourn our sister. I mourn her because before she left this world, she got it. Before she left this world, she truly understood what it meant to go out here and live in a man's skin. So, if you're suffering right now, if you're going through right now relationship problems, or maybe they're going to close the factory and move it overseas, if you haven't seen your kids in forever because their mother hates you more than she loves you guys as children, if you got bills stacked up chest high off the floor and you got no idea where the money's going to come from, I hear you. I hear you. But I ask you not to give up hope. Because while there's yet breath in your body, there's hope for a better outcome. So, again, I want to give a shout out to Inui Blue. Thank you for this topic. I've been edified with this knowledge I didn't previously have about the MAID program up in Canada. And to everybody else, I want to say, if you're going through it right now, I'm going to leave some resources down below for you to reach out to somebody. Anybody. I don't care who, one or more. Somebody to talk to get this off your chest. Because I don't want anybody to leave this world before they were scheduled to. Especially if it's something that can be prevented. That said, that's my time. Like the video, comment down below. Share with a friend, subscribe to the channel. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Networkers, be working. Until next time.